Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do something really exciting for me because I love watching these kind of videos. I'm going to go over my palette collection. And I decided not to just restrict this to my eyeshadow palettes. I'm going to show you all of my palettes that I have. And because I'm doing all of them, I am not going to be able to talk much about each one of them. This is going to be kind of like I'm going to fly through what I've got. I'm going to tell you maybe a sentence or two about what I think of them. And then if you want to see more detailed swatches of a palette, or if you want to see maybe a tutorial with a certain palette, or just want to have any more information or any questions about any of them, be sure and leave it down in the comments and we can go from there on that. There's just no way I can get through all of these and swatch and tell you why I love them and what my favorite colors are in each one. And it would just be an hour-and-a-half video, and I don't think anybody wants that. So now I'm just going to tell you what I've got and what I like. And what I'll try to do is I'm not going to go in any specific order, but I will try to keep my favorite, like, I don't know, top 5, top 3 or something to the very end and kind of go down from there. So I have kind of 3 places that I store my palettes. I have bought this like office organizer at TJ Maxx or something. It matches my bedroom. It's black and white, and that's where my vanity and stuff is set up. So I bought this when I first started collecting makeup. Okay, so it is filled to the rim, but it does not hold all of my palettes. So I also have a space in between my vanity and my mirror, or actually in between that container and my mirror, where I stack some other ones that I use all the time. I put some in drawers if they're smaller, and then I have the palettes that I reserve for my kit. So I'm going to kind of go through all of them. I have a lot of Z palettes, and this one is just, it's a Sephora Z palette, but it's just got random colors in it. To be quite honest, I do not use these colors that much. My daughters always like to come in while I'm putting on makeup and ask for a swatch, and this is the palette that I swatch from, just because they're the colors that I don't care that much about if they get messed up. So this is just kind of my extra palette. This is another kind of random Z palette. It's got some blushes. It's got the new Makeup Geek contour shade that I've yet to talk about. And it's also got a depotted MUA bronzer. So it's just kind of where I don't have space for anything else, I put it in there. This is my Lorac Mega Pro 2 palette. I actually sold my #1 palette, but I'm never getting rid of this. I absolutely love it. It's got 32 beautiful shades in it. This is a Shea Moisture palette that I got off of Target. It's an empty palette, and it actually holds quite a bit. But this is my Makeup Geek and MAC blushes that I go to on a day-to-day basis. I have 2 Morphe palettes. The first is the Jaclyn Hill, oh my goodness. Okay, that just happened. The Jaclyn Hill Favorites palette. And of course, the much coveted, much loved, if you've been able to get it, 35O palette. So the gorgeous oranges, peach colors, browns, just a really good neutral palette. This is a Makeup Forever metal empty palette that I got off of Sephora, but they also sell it like Namie's and Nigel's, other places like that. It's got my Makeup Forever shadows in it, and it's also got some Makeup Addiction shadows and some Stefani shadows. So basically the size of Makeup Forever, that's what I put in here because it's just larger and it holds more. This is a Franky Rose eyeshadow palette. I have done a tutorial using that. It's just a 5-pan palette. MUA Ready to Wear eyeshadow palette that came in their La Matchbox subscription service. Honestly, I have not used that since I did that video. In fact, I really need to do a declutter, and that would probably be one of the ones I get rid of. This I'm not getting rid of. It's my Too Faced Natural Matte palette, and it is the palette I take with me when I travel. I will take this, and I'll take a couple of lid shades because that will get you covered. I don't even care if you're going for 2 weeks. Everything you would need is in this palette. I've already established that my Anastasia Shadows are probably one of my favorite formulas, and so I have a lot of her singles, but I also have 3 of her palettes. I have the Shadow Couture palette, the Amrezi palette, and the Artist palette. And my favorite personally out of all of these is the Amrezi palette. It's got beautiful warm colors, but it also has like that pop of purple and green that they all just perform so well on the eyes. I know you can't get this anymore, but all of them are available in single shades. So I would Google the Amrezi palette and buy some of those single shades because they are really, really good. And of course, this one is not going to fit in that holder. The Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca palette, I have also done a tutorial on this, and I love it. I've used it. I mean, to be honest, with all these palettes, you can't use either one, any of them, like all the time, because there's just not enough days in the year. But I have used this a few more times after that tutorial, and it is a very nice palette. It's a lot more versatile than you would think with all those bright colors. This one's a palette from the drugstore that I've also featured. It's the e.l.f. Mad for Matte palette, and it is so good. This is a $10 palette, and it is high quality shadow formulas. Okay, if you are on a budget, I don't even care if you're not on a budget. If you like eyeshadows, buy this palette. It is amazing. This is always a favorite of mine. It's the Kat Von D Monarch palette, and it's got beautiful shades in it. It's got some cool shades, some neutral shades, and some warm shades, which I feel like she does in a lot of her palettes. I actually bought the Shade and Light Eye, and I returned it because I felt like they kicked up way too much product, which is kind of normal for Kat Von D, but honestly, I didn't need it, so I returned it. But this one I do recommend, the Monarch palette. I hauled these a couple months ago, the two Lorac Unzipped palettes. I've got the original, which is more rosy tones and purples and plums and just overall cool tones. And then the second one they came out with was the gold. And to me, I personally get more use out of the gold, but I like to use the original on my clients as well. Those are not the same formula as the Pro palettes, the Mega Pro or the original Pro palettes. They're a little bit different, but they're still equally good. They're just a little bit different. The Smoky Reveal palette that oh my goodness. Okay, I am like, I don't know, maybe it's a curse. That I just got in a BoxyCharm, haven't used yet, and it's already broken. So I've had all the other Coastal Scents Reveals palette, and I've gotten rid of all of them. They are not all they're cracked up to be, in my opinion. I think you can go spend $20 on that e.l.f. palette, buy that and a couple of L'Oreal Infallible shadows for your lid, and it's way better than the Coastal Scents. You spend the same amount of money. I just got this in my Beautylish Lucky Bag. It's the Becca Ombre Rouge palette, but I also have it in my kit, so I won't show it twice, but I do like it. I have not tried the Ombre Nudes, but I feel like I would like this better just because I feel like the colors are, I don't know, the Ombre Nudes just looks too light for me. So anyways, good palette. I have a started but not finished Inglot palette, and this is the one that kind of has magnets and slides up, and the top completely comes off. But mostly cool tones, except for this one gold and this one dark brown right here. I still need to fill it up. They're good shadows. They're not my favorite by any means. I need to fill them up simply because I have OCD. But I don't turn to them that much, actually. I mean, they're very reasonably priced. I think they're like $7 a shadow, and they're very large pans. I don't know. I don't go towards them that much. This is the Carly Bybel palette from BH Cosmetics, and this is recent, limited edition, but I think they still have it. And it is just a beautiful combination of like purples and cool tones, but then it's got some really pretty shiny gold colors, and then all these are supposed to be highlights. However, they also can be used as eyeshadows as well. And I think this was $12.50, which you cannot beat that. BH Cosmetics as a whole has really good quality stuff for very cheap, so definitely check that out. And if this is still available, grab it while you can, because I think it's completely worth the money. I'm going to go ahead and go to my kit shadows, because the rest of what I've got in my little organizer are considered my favorite, so I'm going to hold those to the end. This is also considered a favorite, but I keep it in my kit, so I just wanted to go ahead and tell you about it and let you know that it is my favorite. And they are the Viseart, the glare is so bad, there you go, the Viseart matte palettes. I do not have the like the Sultry Muse or the Paris Nudes or any of that. I don't have any of the shimmers, but this is the neutral matte one. Absolutely, hands down, one of the top 2 best formulas that I've ever used in a shadow. I don't know why people like put their nose up at the prices on these so much, because you are getting 12 shadows that have more product in them than a MAC pan does or a Makeup Geek pan does. And if you buy a pan of MAC and you buy 12 of them, that's $120. Now granted, you're buying them all at one time, but you're getting a lot of product, and they are such good quality. This is the dark mattes, which is just amazing. Obviously, it's not an all-in-one palette like the neutral mattes is. You don't have any highlight shades or anything like that, but It's so good. And please, if you don't have the $80, obviously don't go out and buy an $80 palette. If you have $80 and you're looking for a good palette, there is nothing about these that aren't worth that $80. They are worth more. When you break it down per pan, I could go on about this forever. I need to shut up. Just get the Viseart palettes. They're so good. I also carry the original Lorac Pro Palette in my kit. This, to me, is another, like, you can have this and never need another palette. It's got every color you will ever need. They're amazing quality. People complain about kick up, but to me, Kat Von D has way more kick up than these, and if you just know how to use them, they are very worth it. So if you are on a budget and you can only afford one eyeshadow palette, this one and one other one that I'm going to tell you about, I would recommend getting because it covers any bases you need. But the Lorac Pro Palette, that's why I keep it in my kit, because really I could just have that and do any look I needed to on any of my clients. This is the IT Cosmetics Naturally Pretty Romantics palette. You can see it's kind of bright, but it's almost pastel-y. It's a very spring palette, but it also has some dark colors over here that would work well. And obviously any time of the year, it's got really pretty purples. I'm itching to swatch these. Can you tell? I almost swatched it. I can't do it. I need to stop. Behave yourself. Okay, I also carry this in my kit, the original Naked. To me, I have not had the 2 and I haven't had the Smoky. I had the 3 and I sold it. Because I just didn't feel like anything was that special about it. However, there are some colors in this that I just feel cannot be replicated. Sidecar, Half Baked, Smog, and Sin are my favorites, and obviously Naked and Buck work really well in the crease. The only complaint I have about this, there's not enough mattes. But, you know, it's not a perfect world, people. It's not a perfect world. And if you're like me and you don't have enough mattes, you just go buy 35 other eyeshadow palettes and you'll be covered. Okay, the last eyeshadow palette I carry in my kit, this is kind of my, it's not kind of, it's my MAC single shadow palette that, in all honesty, I use this the most on all of my clients. It's got the staples, the soft brown, Swiss chocolate, which Swiss chocolate is my favorite matte color of all time. Embark Brune, this like grayish greenish color up here, is a universal eyebrow color. It's absolutely ridiculous, but it is. Kid, right down here, is the perfect transition color. Woodwinked, Coppering, Floof, and All That Glitters. It's just, I mean, I have so many brides that I don't even get out of this palette. I can do a complete look with just this. I'm not going to run downstairs and get it because I'm being lazy today. I don't feel like it. But the other palettes that I have in my kit are face palettes. And they are the Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour Palette, which if you're going to invest in any contour palette, that is by far the best quality in my opinion. And my palette of Tarte blushes that I also did a video on the big book of blushes. I have a Z palette filled with those also in my kit. All right, we're getting down to the good nitty gritty stuff. I don't know how long it's been so far for y'all, but I've already been filming for 20 minutes, so I need to kind of speed it up. Okay, this palette, I haven't had for too long. I've had it, I don't know, probably about 6 weeks, but it's good. And I need to do a complete video on these because I don't hear much about them. But these are amazing shadows. It is the Gorgeous Cosmetics, you can see right there, 8-pan palette Ever Matte Shades. And I just realized they have colors. That's so awesome. I've never noticed that. And it's just 8 pans of what you would first look at and be like, blah, you know, they're okay, but they're no different than any other colors. Wrong. Just wrong, because they are so different than any other colors. I cannot tell you. Like, people say all the time when I'm watching tutorials, they're like, oh, this is so smooth, and it you know, it feels like butter, and it's so creamy, and blah, blah, blah. I'm not kidding you. I feel like I'm slathering, like, smooth, I don't even know. You feel it when you put these on your eyelids, how smooth and creamy they are. It's almost a cooling sensation. It's the weirdest thing ever, but they blend out meticulously. I can't think of another word that's good enough for it. I also have their foundation, so I'm going to do a whole video on this and their foundation, so watch out for that. I'm going to try to get that up this month because this needs to be purchased. Okay, it needs to be purchased. Okay, the other palette, along with the Lorac Pro, that I said if, you know, if my clients say, oh, I don't really have many eyeshadows, what palette do I get? The Lorac Pro completely covers every base you need, as well as the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. I have talked so much about how much I love this palette, and I've got the old school chunky one, so I've had it for a long time. But it is well loved, well used, and deservedly so. It is absolutely beautiful, and I also have its sister, the Too Faced Semi-Sweet, which I don't like as much, but I still like it. I mean, it definitely was not worth sending back. I need to get the bonbons. If you have the bonbons and you think, after seeing all this ridiculous amount of eyeshadow palettes that I have, if you still think I need it, let me know in the comments. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say need, because do I need any of these? No. If you think that I would like it, and do you think it would be a good addition to my collection, please let me know. So this starts like my absolute favorites. I did not show you this, the Too Faced Stardust palette. It's the Vegas Nay. I don't think it's still available. It is good. I mean, they're Too Faced shadows. You cannot complain. It's not technically in my top favorites. Honestly, I just forgot about it. The Gorgeous Cosmetics was the beginning of my favorites. So that, the Too Faced palettes, these palettes, two Tartlet palettes. These are like my babies right now. This is the original Tartlet. I broke this one and I just about cried. I was doing a wedding and I almost literally cried. I think the bride thought I was a little crazy. And then this one, the sister that just came out, this a little bit warmer colors, and this one has 3 shimmery shades in it, where this one is all matte. I don't like one over the other because they're both absolutely fantastic and serve 2 totally different purposes. One being cool, one being warm. So it's just, they're so, so good. I featured this in my yearly favorites. This is my go-to palette of Anastasia Shadows that I absolutely love and I use in some form or fashion every single day. I use this one every single day to set my primer, and I use that's actually a MAC shadow. MAC Nylon every single day is my inner corner highlight. I only have like 3 more palettes to talk about, or 3 more sets of palettes. Okay, I'm so excited. These are my Makeup Geek Z palettes. Okay, so I have one that is shimmer shadows and foiled and duochrome. So anything that's not matte is in this palette. And then this one is all of the matte shades that I have from her. I mean, I don't need to talk about Makeup Geek. We all know how amazing they are. We all know how affordable they are. I would say my favorite matte shades is Preppy right here. It's one of those like puke in a pan colors. It really looks so disgusting, but it's absolutely amazing on the crease. It makes any eyeshadow look come to life. It's what I have in the crease today. It's absolutely phenomenal. I really like Unexpected right here for my cool tone looks for the crease. And all of her new matte shadows right here that she came out with, I really like. Cherry Cola and Curfew are my favorites out of those. The kind of burgundy color and then the bright purple. Okay, so these last 2 I wanted to save because I want you all to be very aware and pay attention because they may or may not be involved in the giveaway that I'm doing next week. So be sure and make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on that. But this is the Urban Decay Gwen Stefani blush palette. I've done an entire video for this palette with swatches and it's amazing. I use this. I've traveled twice since I have gotten this palette and it's all I take for blushes and highlight. So, so good. And then these are the newest additions and I am going to do a whole video on these. So be on the lookout for that as well. And they are the Natasha Nonna eyeshadow palettes. Now, I did not break down and buy the $250 large palette she has. In all honesty, all the videos I've seen of those, all the swatches I've seen of those, half of the colors I don't need or want. I'm not going to spend that amount of money on $250 worth of product when I only want $125 of it. So does that make sense? So I'm going to stick to the 5-pan palettes, which is what I did. Beautylish had their secret shop, I don't know, 2 weeks ago where they launched these for 36 hours and then they're going to come back in February. So This is palette number 8. And this is Kathleen Lights did, I think, a tutorial with this. It's got greens. It's got a gorgeous, like a cool toned taupey champagne, a really pretty coral. I am going to do swatches of these because it's the last one I have. Just really quick. I'm only going to do 2 shades of each because I am going to do a whole video. If you can see right there, those are 2 of the shades. They're just beautiful. Their pigmentation, as everyone says, is on point. Like, you can't, I don't know, and everybody turns their nose up at these too because they're $48. I don't think people really realize that you're getting 5 eyeshadows in here for $48. That is less than $10 a shadow. You pay $12 a shadow for Anastasia. What's the difference? I don't get it. Everybody's turning their nose up at it, and it just, to me, it doesn't make sense. If you can't afford it, I get it. You're not going to be looking at a $48 eyeshadow palette if you can't afford it anyways. But to stick your nose up and say it's too expensive, it's really not. It's comparable to so many other. It's just that you're buying 5 at a time. I'm passionate about this. Can you tell? Okay, and this one is palette 10, and it's the purple palette. And I'm only going to, I hope that's focusing. There it goes. I'm only going to swatch this color right here because there are no words. There are no words. I wish you could see this in real life. It's so amazing. We made it. I'm done with all my palettes. I'm so excited. Again, if you want to see a designated video on any of these, or if you want me to do a tutorial using any of them, please let me know. Be sure you're subscribed. I don't know when this is going up, to be quite honest. I may have already done the giveaway. I may haven't. But either way, it's still going to be going on. So be sure and subscribe so you can be a part of that. And like this video if you did. It really helps me out. And have a very blessed day.